Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Coworker Stories and it's by user ccourse5171. Nightmare coworker thinks he's untouchable, slips up. So I'm currently working for a rather large discounter as a cashier and stalker. This means that we have minimal staff to keep the store running. 2 minimum, 3 to 4 on business days. This means that each worker not only has a higher workload, but also means that everyone except the first register needs to do multiple things throughout their shift. The one responsible for the organization of tasks is the most senior full-time employee, internally known as the vice manager. Recently, we've fallen into a staff shortage due to our previous store manager getting promoted and their replacement along with 2 other co-workers quitting due to medical issues and or moving to a different city. This meant that regional was scrambling for new hires and onboarded quickly, skipping most of the formal onboarding process, which for me included about 8 paid hours of e-learning courses. 2 of the 3 new hires are not noteworthy in the slightest. But number 3, let's call him John, certainly has a character. John is a around 25-year-old toxically friendly non-native part-time worker that also works at a fast food chain across town as his second job. When John was interviewed, he not only lied about previous experience as he claimed he worked for one of our sister organizations so knew all the systems, but also lied about his availability given his other job. This led to the interviewer from Regional saying that he is eligible to be vice manager. When he started due to the rush hiring and lack of store manager, he didn't do any of the e-learning. This is critical since several of those, Register 101, Health and Safety, Conflict Resolution, Youth Protection, are legally required to be allowed to work a register. Since we didn't know that he hadn't done those before at our sister store, he was allowed to operate the register, which he was unsurprisingly very bad at. Anyways, on day 2 of working with us, I had him as my second cashier, and he was already gossiping about that shift's vice manager, saying how she was bad at her job and that she couldn't make it at a fast food place. Then, he complimented our most senior full-time employee, saying, "Wow, you did that really well despite being, you know." Then he started actively spreading minor rumors about certain employees hating certain other employees, all whilst having the ego of a lifetime. If you asked him anything, he'd claim to know it, and then tell you something completely wrong. He'd casually state that he was the fastest and most orderly and best at facing, etc, 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 all whilst his cash register performance, digitally tracked, was severely under the quota. Note that our quota isn't hard to hit. Once you've been at a register for a month or so, you'll hit it, and there's no repercussions for it unless you're under it consistently. Most exceed by around 30%. This underperformance is why he was then subsequently denied the ability to be a vice manager of a shift, since at that point it had also come out that he didn't work in our sister store but worked in a bakery in the same building as one. Then I was once again paired with him for a shift a few days ago. This is now month 3 or so of his employment and he is universally disliked as a gossiper, underperformer, and fake nice coworker. Whilst everyone is still professional, he isn't on a friendly basis with anyone, as everyone knows about his gossiping and weird self-congratulatory compliments. So that day, I find out that he's handed in his 2-week notice. And what does he do? Underperform even harder. At one point during the day, his register crashes. When this happens, that register is out of commission for a good 10 minutes due to the automatic reboot sequence. The current vice manager then came to the register to see what's up and initiated the restart. I tell him, "You could go outside and put the carts in the pen, they've been messy for a few weeks now." To which he responds, not to me, but to the vice manager, "This dude doesn't have crap to say here." To which the vice manager responded, "It's still a good idea. Come on, let's go outside." At this point, they had a talk outside that I didn't witness, but got a transcript of later. John said, "This clown doesn't have crap to say here. I'm practically doing your job." The vice manager told him I've been there for way longer than him, and if Regional walked in when he were just sitting there, it'd be his ass. John doubled down saying I just want to boss him around and that I'm a racist. The VM corrected him, saying that I just suggested something that needs to be done anyways and that I can't do it as first register. Then John says, "He obviously just wants to boss me around. I'm way higher than him in the hierarchy. He's just a cashier. I'm untouchable. They can't fire me. I already quit. I can do what I want, and that idiot can't make me do crap." After that, John looked visibly angry at me the rest of the day. Now, do note that John was 90 minutes late that day, after calling in that he'd be an hour late, 10 minutes before his shift started. Anyways, I went to the VM after that to talk with him about John, where I found out about the conversation in rough strokes. Then, I didn't see John until the end of the day. But what happened during that time is going to end up with a severe whooping next week. John wanted to go 5 minutes early to catch the next public transit time, which was exactly at close, whilst we usually take around 50 minutes to close the store, paid. Due to the VM being sick of John, he agreed, but changed his schedule so he wouldn't be paid the 15 minutes after close. Then, John called the VM, who was in the store talking to a coworker, Dora, that had come in for shopping late in the evening. Dora had at that point told John that he could restock the bottled water since there was still time. The VM asks, "Hey John, what's up?" And John says on speaker, "Yeah, I'm done with the register. That stupid see you next Tuesday Dora just told me to restock the water. Who does that bitch think she is?" The VM is stunned. Yeah, I'm gonna come get your register locked up. Be right there." Now, obviously Dora heard that. She didn't say anything, so John didn't know she heard, but told the VM that she'd stay after close to talk to him. I don't think I've heard any coworker use any curse words or insults ever, so this is a major out of bounds. During close, she asked us if we were okay with being listed as witnesses, to which we agreed, and she said that next Monday, so in a few hours, she'd be contacting corporate to see if she can make him exit a little faster and on fire. This is getting interesting. Oh, most definitely, OP. That idiot John thinks he's untouchable because he handed in his 2-week notice. Clearly a very stupid person. And insulting a coworker like that on the microphone, that is a fireable offense right away. And yeah, 2 weeks notice or not, you're not untouchable, John. You're just a moron. What do you guys think about John? Have you ever had a coworker as idiotic as that? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's quickly check out the community comments. MJ Brudu says, "Tell me you work at Dollar General without telling me you work at Dollar General." And OP responds, "Neither confirming nor denying." Effective Several says, "Stop. He said, they can't fire me, I already quit. So if he quit, why did he continue working?" And OP responds, 2-week notices are legally required for both sides here. Even if you're fired, you're still legally required to work unless your contract doesn't have minimum hours. You can only be fired immediately for some very specific reasons or within 2 weeks of starting a job, which are usually security concerns or illegal stuff. And for security concerns, they still have to pay you your contractual hours for those 2 weeks. I think they actually increased to 4-week notices after 12 months of employment or something like that. And Paul Michaels 73 says, "Toxically friendly" is a phrase I'd never heard before, but instantly knew the type of person you were describing. Big smiley face. Alright, well then let's not waste any time and just move on straight to the update. It's been 2 weeks since the original post, since I wanted to wait for the full process to unravel, which was slowed by the Christmas chaos. So, after that incident, Dora went to the regional manager to report this. This isn't the first report about John, given his track record as incapable, but it was the last. Though that's not quite correct, but I'll get to that later. Now, as mentioned in the original post, our atmosphere is very friendly and even mild insults towards coworkers would get you a talking to. So his behavior was phenomenally out of line, especially to an off-duty VM. Dora is also a VM. Though I don't know the full story, from what I could gather, several from the upper brass came to our store to talk to our store manager, Dora and John, one by one, with 3 corporate members each. Dora said that they meticulously went through the event with her, but seemed generally pretty unfazed in their expressions. The store manager said that they just asked about how much I trust Dora and a few others, then looked around the store like the Inquisition and left. No idea why they came. Inspection isn't for another 3 weeks at least. Inquisition is what we call quality assurance and audits and revisions, which is basically just the audit guys. Now, this Monday, I look at the work schedule and John is completely gone, not even a listing with no hours, just removed. Since I was heading that way anyways for shopping, I hopped in and asked that day's VM, who said, no idea, they usually don't go away until at least a month after their last day. And the store manager said, I don't think I can tell you what I know. If you want to know, go ask Claire. Now, Claire is our regional manager, who we're on quite good terms with, so I hit her up after getting back. Conversation goes as follows. Hey Claire. Hey OP, what's up? I thought you were off until the 3rd. I go, yeah, I am. Just wanted to ask something a little off the record. Claire says, okay, let's see what I can do for you. And I go, so just out of curiosity, what happened to John? He's not on the timetable anymore and I haven't seen any goodbyes. Claire, audibly despairing, oh yeah, John. John is about as close to super fired as possible. After Dora called the HR director, HR sent out some guys to check up on things and John was stealing stuff. Not much, at least not much we can prove, but enough to fire him on the spot. His personnel file is also marked with do not hire and do not recommend, so I doubt he'll ever get a job with any company we're working with. And I ask, they can do that? And Claire says, apparently, I know that much. Anyways, anything other than that? And I go, nope, that's it. Happy New Year's if we don't hear each other anymore. You too. So, John is super fired. Sadly, no epic battle. Some of you have attempted to guess where I work, though none were correct. If all our subsidiaries are counted together though, we have a little over 3 times as many employees as DG, though our customer base is just as animalistic. Given John is also likely blocked from working for our suppliers, I think a good 500,000 jobs are forever out of John's reach. And as far as I know, most discounters call around to other brands to see if a person is a no-no. So at least there's that. Other than that, happy belated Christmas and happy New Year's in advance. Hope you all survived the holidays and managed to get some family time. Now let's make it past New Year's, without me since I took time off. Smiley face. And there you have it. John has just basically banned himself from getting hired. Anyways, thanks for sharing OP and take care. Now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit True of My Chest and it's by user Barkley and I think their keyboard broke. Sister-in-law is forcing her fiance's family into my life. My sister-in-law is in a whirlwind romance, from meeting her fiancé less than 5 months ago to now having a wedding in February. I am concerned of the relationship internally, but have been supportive on the outside. It's her life and I won't get into the middle of it. The only problem now is sister-in-law is forcing her fiancé and his family into my life. My family, wife and kids, have always hosted holidays and get-togethers for our families. We have a great party hosting house and love doing it. When we learned about sister-in-law's fiancé, we invited them for a small dinner party, mostly to meet and celebrate the engagement. Sister-in-law asked if 1 or 2 family members could come, and that was no problem, until they arrived with 10 people. All but 1 was not family, but close friends. I didn't get any warning and was underprepared to host. I thought no big deal, and it was a misunderstanding. But after a few more events, I realized this is how they always wanted to be. The brother-in-law is from Latin America and they consider close friends as family. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law want to bring them to everything. Apple picking, Thanksgiving, night out at a local music venue. Every time it's now 20 plus people, half being brother-in-law's family. And that big of things we do not enjoy. Edit, I understand now that this extended family stuff isn't part of Latin American culture. One time, I suggest we keep a family thing small and not invite brother-in-law's friends. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law took this very personally and suggested it was because they are from Latin America. And now it's become a I'm not accepting their culture thing. For us, it's always been like keeping it to close family. We may get to know everyone better, but we just have no time. With Christmas and New Year's coming up, sister-in-law's putting a ton of pressure on my wife to invite everyone. We don't want that. We want Christmas to be close family. We want New Year's to be relaxed with the kids. I hate how we are now being forced to accept my sister-in-law's new family into our lives with zero time to adjust. Well, OP, you just set hard boundaries. And by the way, I'd like to say something here. In my opinion, there's no such thing as Latin American culture. There's many different countries that make up what people call Latin America. Yes, we do have some things in common, mostly religion and the language. And personally, I don't like bundling them all up together like they're the same thing, because they're not. Each country has its own culture, its own idiosyncrasy, celebrates their own holidays, and that's the beauty of it. I know it has nothing to do with the post, I just wanted to put it out there. Now back to you, OP. Your sister-in-law and brother-in-law are just taking advantage of you and you can just say no. And if they choose to get offended over that and not go, well, whatever. You're not kicking them out, they decided not to attend. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's check out the community comments. FreePlays3930 says, you are just going to have to stay strong and say no. Hopefully your wife sees it this time. And Dopey responds, my wife is 100% on my side with all this. We just extended the Christmas invite to only the sister-in-law and brother-in-law and were cleared to exclude the friends. Dead silence on their end the past few days. Montana Pat 89 says, well, it's actually them not accepting your culture. It goes both ways. They need to understand that you are hosting, so you invite or not invite the people you want to attend. Your wife needs to back you on this or you will end up hosting this crowd forever. And Dopey responds, I feel the same way, but because I'm American and they're immigrants, I'm the one getting all the flack. And Mission Cloud 360 says, this is not a Latin thing. Family is family and friends are friends. The same way it is rude to bring extra people to someone else's events is rude in the US, it is rude to arrive with extra people in Latam. You need to let your sister-in-law know that the invitations are for her and her partner only, and it will be up to them to decide to come to your place or not. It's not that hard really. You just need to stay firm and deny entry if they arrive with more people. In Mexico, it is called Los Gorrones, and there is an old kind of folk song to describe people that arrive to a party without an invitation, and it is a social no-no. Don't let them blame it on a culture thing, because it is just a plain lack of consideration for the home of other people. Yeah, in Chile we call these a-holes paracaidistas, or paratroopers, because they just land out of nowhere. Anyway, the community is siding with OP, so now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. My wife and I agreed to invite sister-in-law's fiancé to stay Christmas Eve night so they could be there for Christmas morning. I've extended the invite to other spouses and decided to do the same. I specifically said that fiancé's friends and family could not stay, but they are welcome later on Christmas Day when we had more people coming. Even though they were not happy about it, they accepted. A few days before Christmas, they changed plans. Sister-in-law and everyone would stay at their own place and drive over after the morning. This worked out well, and she said there would be 6 of them coming, so I planned food for 14 people. I go pretty hard for the Christmas meal with prime rib and 6 to 7 additional dishes. Christmas morning came and went with no problems. We called sister-in-law and she said they would all be leaving soon and we will see them around noon. Well, sister-in-law arrives alone. I asked if everyone else was coming separately and sister-in-law said no. Apparently, they had all gone out that night drinking. When sister-in-law left, they were all still in bed hungover and decided not to come. I was honestly happy but also annoyed. What kind of people cancel on a day as big as Christmas because you drank too much the night before? I made extra food for 5 adults on a very expensive meal. No apologies or even the heads up when we spoke with sister-in-law that morning. I've decided I will not be accepting of this entire relationship and the extended family. I will consider them as distant family, I just don't keep in contact with. I can see them on holidays, but I'm not putting any effort into building a relationship. On top of that, sister-in-law asked if they could crash at our house for New Year's. Easiest F no of my life. Yeah, OP, I'd do the same thing. F no. Those are just a-holes and not necessarily affiliated to any culture. So good for you for setting those boundaries, OP, and hopefully you guys have an awesome new year. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Busy Bullet. Stopped coworkers from leaving their trash on my desk. Many years ago, I had a corner desk near the door. Coworkers would regularly put their drinks on my desk on their way to the restroom and pick them up on the way back. After asking them not to do that, I put an extra waste basket at the end of the desk and started tossing their drinks in it. They were often genuinely surprised to find no drink when they came back though. I just apologized and told them that I didn't know who left their trash on my desk, but I needed my desk space to work. They also bumped into my chair while cutting through my work area. These things would happen multiple times a day and it was always the same handful of people. It was so bad that if I were to roll my chair back 6 inches, I'd accidentally run into them. So that's exactly what I started doing. When I had to get a file from the side drawer, I would roll my chair back and turn sideways to get the files. I decided that I needed a file pretty much every time someone was cutting through my workspace. It took a few times, but the worst offenders soon stopped after a few interactions between their ankles and my chair legs. I would always profusely apologize and ask if they were okay, offer to help them get back to their desk, write an accident report, etc. Nobody was ever seriously injured, but I'm sure there were some bruises. I'm not proud, but I would do it all again if I were at that desk in that office. Well, OP, I absolutely agree with you. That must have been very annoying. And I don't know if it was a petty revenge. It's more like you corrected bad behavior. Good for you. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.